cloud-based project management to get all the other guys just to use the same API. Maybe? Anybody?
Sounds like it would slow things down to me, so I'm going to go.
Yeah, and we throw something out there, see how it works, and then
Yeah.
we'll converge.
Yeah. That's the best way. So is that the news rounded off?
I think that's the miscellaneous.
All right.
Page.
Q&A. Okay, you guys have to have some questions for us. Please use the microphones.
If not, we'll just do
If not, we'll start singing and stuff. So you better ask some questions.
Just jump on the mic so we get it recorded.
Yeah.
We could run around Donahue style.
Can I get a copy of the visual JavaFX thingy that you worked on?
Unfortunately, no.
Not yet. Not yet.
When will it be
Yes.
available?
It's going to happen, right?
So we showed 3 things today that are basically slated for the end of the year, and that was the brand new graphic stack. I don't know if everyone saw the technical keynote, but there's a new graphic stack that is super, super fast, and that is, we're working on it now, but it's not part of 1.2. That's why it's called 1.2, not 1.5 or 2.0, because it's, there's new stuff in it, but there's really big changes happening. So the graphic stack.
Hold on, I gotta make a comment about the graphic stack that we were talking about in the room earlier. This is a note to John Berkey. That demo that highlights how awesome the new graphic stack is, turn the speed of the rotation of that picture thing down like by half, so that it's moving slow and not skipping frames. I don't know if, did you guys see the demo of the circle of things? He had it running so quickly, it was skipping tons of frames, so it looked bad.
Oh,
That was
little
going
GC
slow.
pauses going on in there.
Yeah, but they slowed it down, like literally just slowed it down so it was rotating slowly, it would have rendered it perfectly, and as you move the mouse over it, just slowly moved the things out and in, it would have rendered like 100 times more frames, and would have been really impressive. The way it looked, it was just moving too fast, so it was all jumbled. I just thought that was an error in programming, not in the stack.
Maybe you sat too close to the screen. Because from where I was, it was perfect.
Oh, cool.
Well, I'm pretty hyper anal on UI stuff. I saw a lot of missed frames.
So anyway, so I said 3 and I can only remember 2 now. The other thing is the designer tool. And so, basically it'll be released along with the rest of all the stuff that's coming at the end of the year with the 2.0 release. So, we are going to have I don't want to say private beta because it sounds so
Elitist and wrong.
We're going to try to get user feedback earlier, but basically we're working as hard as we can.
Work harder.
Yes, I'll try.
Right.
I want to hijack this really quick and you said
say
something
one more
about
thing?
Go on.
But the designer tool, I'm going to be spending 10 minutes in it on the Friday keynote. So if you like it, come look at the keynote on Friday.
Toy show. So
Cheer like mad when Tor goes up there. Make it noisy.
garbage collection was mentioned, and that triggered something that I wanted to mention very quickly, which is the new Java 6 update 14, which now has the escape analysis stuff in it as well as the garbage first. So with all the garbage first stuff, everybody's kind of overlooked this escape analysis, which you can turn on now. And my facts are very flaky on this, but I remember reading something about some project that turned it on and received like an 8 times speed up or something crazy. I mean, I don't know what kind of object creation was going on in that project, but that's pretty wild.
So you should explain really quickly if you don't know what that is. Normally when an object's allocated, if it's has a pointer to it, it's allocated on the heap. If you have the hotspot go and analyze where it's used, if it's not used anywhere else, they can allocate it on the fly on the stack and then throw it away after that call. So it will figure out which things can do that.
But I think escape analysis can do even better things. For example, if you are creating a string buffer, using it, and then taking the string out of it inside of a block, they know you're not accessing the string buffer from any other threads because it's local.
So they return the string buffer.
They can disable all synchronization.
Yeah.
So basically there's no synchronization because they know that this code is basically thread safe.
That's kind of cool.
It is pretty cool.
Try to do that with C.
But you should be using a string builder.
Any other questions? Go
to
for
Mike.
it, but please, microphones, if you would. Don't be shy.
That one's perfect, gentlemen.
Joe. I'm a fairly recent listener, and I'm just curious. What's that?
Thank you.
Long-time caller. I'm just kind of curious how a diverse set of fellows like yourselves came together to start doing this podcast. I've really not seen a history of of what you guys can
It's so funny because Joe said, hey, should we do the usual spiel about how this started? But no, it must be sick of hearing it by now.
Everyone knows right now.
Wait, I gotta tell you what Tor said. He said, if we ask that and somebody says they don't know, just tell them to talk to someone sitting next to them.
No, I think I said, no. I said there's about 250 hours worth of background reading that you could check into.
No, we can do,
The Joe can do
a quick
10 words or less.
Oh my god, I can't do 10 words. I can do very few.
Joe
though.
in 10 words or less?
So we all used to be dance partners in this troupe. We were initially doing salsa dancing, then we decided it'd be cool to do a little bit more jazzy stuff, so we made up our own thing. Right around then, that's when the Java language came out. That was kind of fun. We lost Tor. All right, the real story. So
Tor just brought his beer up through his nose.
All right, so let's go back in time. Back in. Sorry, Tor. Can you bring him another beer? Then I'll do the real story. So, circa 95, 96, Carl and I worked together on JBuilder at Borland. So we worked together for a very, very long time. Many years later, we both, went off different companies and things. We ended up at Sun on the user development team and on the Sun Java Studio creator team to build the JSF visual design tool. Tor was the one.
Project Rave.
Project
That's a
Rave
cool
is
name.
the code name for that.
We worked in the rave room.
Yeah, we had like a room. We all sat in with laptops. That's right. It's like a startup inside of like the biggest freaking company you've ever seen in your life. So that would be Sun. So Tor was working on the visual design tool. Carl was doing the 2A tools, the sort of the AST modeling stuff. I was doing the developer version of the API and some of the UI stuff and the component stuff. And Dick was our number one sort of beta feedback guy. He was a Java champion.
Number one fan.
Number one fan.
Number one
So that's where we met. And then, why don't you tell the part about the Java
I think we're up to about 200 words at this point.
Okay. So about the same time, I discovered this thing called podcasting, which was about 4.5 years ago now. So it was just kind of getting started. I was listening to a few podcasts, and I thought, I'd like one on Java, so I went out looking for one, and I
He's quite geek.
didn't find one. So I found one on Linux, so I got that one. Then I tried finding one on Java, couldn't find one. So I ended up thinking, I wonder if anyone's planning on starting one. I found this guy called Brandon Werner, who was interested in starting one. I said, do you want to get together and do this? And I think he kind of lost focus or lost interest in it a little bit after like 3 or 4 episodes. Anybody
He
here?
objected with your
Does
dancing
anyone
background.
here remember the JavaCast?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Hardcore, man. They're a little scary.
All 4 episodes, right?
No, not really.
They have expectations.
Yes, they do. But anyway, after that, Tor was one of our first interviewees on the JavaCast, and when it kind of fell apart, I pinged him and said, would he join up and help me? And he said, only if somebody else comes along as well, because he didn't want to let me down on if he couldn't make it.
We should point out that at that point, Carl was at Google, Tor was at Sun, I was at Sun, and Dick was at
New Energy
New
Associates.
Energy, which is a part of Siemens.
Yep. And then Joe joined us on episode 25.
That's right. Because I defected from Sun and went to Apple, and since it wasn't too much Sun blood in the water, we
We've always been very
Could
conscious
be
of
late
that.
for
And we were always very conscious
Yeah,
of that.
like
And then I joined Google for a while, and that just kind of went out the window. No one stopped listening, so it couldn't have been
Well,
that
we
bad.
threatened on one episode to kick Dick off the podcast because he was now at Google and Carl had been there first. But he actually does all the work, so I figured that'd be a bad maneuver. Dick and I were both in Navigenics, so I was sweating for a little while, so I left there so I could stay on the podcast.
The dedication.
So close. Does that answer your question?
I think you've had enough detail. Or would you like some more? We can keep going if you'd like.
So let's do this one for fun. So hardcore object, middle tier tools guy,
totally
some
language
component
stuff,
stuff,
yeah.
etc. Very much UI sort of object, etc. guy. You want to give anyone?
Coda.
People
Coder,
listening to
hardcore
this
coder.
will not know what you're talking about.
Oh, Carl. Carl is first one, Tor second one.
That's right. I missed that one.
No, this is an
I'm usually
audio
good about that.
That's good.
Yeah,
Thank you,
audio,
thank you,
audio.
Thomas. Dick is very much server-side guy. Do not let him touch UI.
He's the back end of the room.
And then I pretty much API design, UI, and architecture stuff. And now I've
But
gone
no
all the way
code.
to where my daily tool
No
is
code.
Photoshop.
There are days
I'm
that
a
I
Photoshop guy.
there are days that I feel like the token server side guy, the one who's going to die on the planet in the red shirt.
We just call you Token.